Hello, everyone. I'm Blue Orion, and I want to welcome you to this very special stream. As most of you are aware, Warlock has made a splash on the world of Sanctuary. What you may not know, or haven't had the time to think about, is what it took to get the Warlock class into the world. What roads did Blizzard take to add this new and exciting class? It wasn't a straightforward shot to Warlock. They just didn't decide, hey, we need a great summoner class. They took steps to get there. Today I want to take a minute and look back on that road. Now, Diablo was released on December 31st in 1996. I know a lot of you were pretty young. I was only 15 at that time. Pretty crazy to think this game has been around for nearly 30 years. This year is its 30th anniversary. And what started as a simple isometric point-and-click game has evolved into a worldwide phenomenon. Let's take a step back and look at where it started. From its humble beginnings, this is where we started.
Force wrought this destruction. Mother, father, slain as they sleep. The town has the stench of death and demons upon it. By their souls I swear vengeance on these creatures of the underworld. Diablo, enter if you dare.
Now that doesn't seem like much to today's standards, but I can still remember playing it late at night and getting the creepiest feelings of what's going to happen when I open that door. Is it just going to be some skeletons, some goblins, some imps, or was it the elusive, freaky butcher with his catchphrase of fresh meat? I can still remember the first time he appeared, freaking out and dying so quick because I couldn't get away from him and I wasn't strong enough. Now, they had a pretty simple beginning. They had the warrior, mostly melee weapons based, got a rogue that liked to sneak and bows, and the sorcerer, your more magical based build. Now, none of these, as you can guess, were summoners. So, originally, there was no specific summoner class. What they did have, however, in later games, or late game I should say, was the golem spell. Now, you could either get a scroll, one-time use, and have this clay golem follow you around. If you were lucky enough to find a scroll of golem, you could summon this clay rock guy to follow you around and tank for you. This became a very wanted spell for the sorcerers and rogues because they didn't have the tanking ability that the warrior did. Diablo had an unofficial expansion that they eventually bought out and made it official called Hellfire. And it added a new class, the monk, This came out in November 25th of 1997. Still no dedicated summoner class. Now, we didn't see a official summoner class till Diablo 2 came out in June 28, 2000. And with Diablo 2, we got our first true summoner class, the Necromancer. As you saw in that footage, they took heavy inspiration from the Golem spell. In fact, that is one of their first summoning spells is the Golem. Throughout that gameplay, you probably noticed a couple different versions. There's the standard rock one, the flame one, but you also saw something new. They were able to summon skeletons to aid them in their battle. Truly its own unique take on summoning minions. Now, we got an expansion for Diablo 2 on June 27th, 2001, and it was called the Lord of Destruction. It came with two new classes, the Assassin and the Druid. Now, the Druid is another class that fits under this summoner category. Let's take a look at the official Druid trailer, released back in 2000. As you can see, the Druid, instead of death-oriented, is more nature-themed, with fire, rock, and here we show the summoning of birds. So more nature-reliant. You're going to see more nature things. They also had the ability to shapeshift into werewolves and werebears. So they were a quasi-tank summoner. But they worked with the natural elements instead of building things from the dead. But still, could summon all sorts of different minions, wolves, birds, to aid them. So you could have an army at your beck and call. And here we got a bear that they summoned. Pretty great, and it builds on the idea of an army working for you. It's just a natural one. And so you can see already the summoner class is evolving from single powerful ones to lots of littler ones with occasional big ones thrown in. Now, Diablo 3 didn't release until May 15th, 2012. That was over 10 years since we had a official Diablo game. Now, when it released, it came with the Barbarian, Demon Hunter, Monk, Wizard, and their new take is the Witch Doctor, where before we had the Necromancer, who was based around death and bones and resurrecting. Then we had the more nature elements in the Druid. With Witch Doctor, they're taking a little bit more working with the spirits and animating things. Let's watch their trailer for the Witch Doctor and just see how it kind of compares. The Witch Doctor.
Few outsiders have witnessed the Umbaru tribal feuds that rage in the dense Taganse jungles. These ritualistic wars are not for lands or gold, but for living captives to offer up as sacrifices. The Umbaru perform these ceremonies to honor the spirits of the unformed land, a veiled reality that the tribe's revered witch doctors can experience. Recently, one of the most devout of these warriors rebelled against his own spiritual leaders, believing that they had succumbed to corruption. Although banished for his ways, this witch doctor is unwavering in his faith in the spirits. He has embarked on a journey of truth and honor that will bring him face to face with the cursed demonic forces that threaten Sanctuary. The Witch Doctor wields supernatural forces, assaulting the bodies and minds of his enemies via crippling diseases, potent alchemy, and ancient rites. Channeling these black magics consumes mana, a mystical pool of energy that slowly replenishes over time. To expand his mana supply, the Witch Doctor can don fearsome tribal equipment imbued with magic, allowing him to hurl an almost endless barrage of spells and incantations against his foes. While the Witch Doctor can cause direct damage to others, some of his most powerful skills are far more subtle. Horrify, for example, causes nearby enemies to flee in terror, while mass confusion blurs the line between friend and foe, turning even the staunchest allies against each other. Yet these curses pale in comparison to the Witch Doctor's ability to summon hideous creatures from the netherworld. By drawing from his mana reserves, he can plague the land with poisonous toads, command savage beasts to rend the flesh of his opponents, and release a swarm of fire bats to set his enemies ablaze. Most terrifying of all is the Gargantuan, a massive abomination that can obliterate the most heavily armored demonic forces. The Witch Doctor is a fearsome combatant who will give no quarter to his foes. But he also hungers for knowledge about the world and its mysteries. His quest to fight evil in honor of the spirits is a noble one, and he will not rest until he sees it through to the end. If you are drawn to shadowy arts, grim magics, and the camaraderie of foul minions, then your calling might lie with the Witch Doctor.
And there you have it. The Witch Doctor. And as you saw, it didn't need dead things or things around it. It was what we would call a true summoner, bringing things from somewhere else. This spirit realm. Now this is a very important step towards the Warlock, as we'll get into in a little bit. Now, Diablo 3 didn't stop there. They released Reaper of Souls expansion in March 25, 2014, and with it we got the Crusader, a little reminiscent of what's going on now. Now, Crusader, not the important part, but what they did as a mini patch in it, the Rise of the Necromancer, is because we are revisiting that classic Diablo 2 Necromancer with some updated tweaks. Let's go ahead and take a look at what the Necromancer had to offer in Diablo 3.
Death has ravaged our world, and the balance that sustained us has been lost. We feared this day would come, when the lands are ruined, and the champions of the light can no longer save those in need. But I will. For I wield the power they cannot. And a new army of the dead shall rise at my command. All who threaten the balance, beware.
Now, that was a pretty epic add to the game as a sort of mini expansion. As you see, they work with the skeletons, the dead bones. They had to have something to animate, but they were powerful, and they could use the dead as a weapon against the Hell's armies. Now, Diablo 4, the latest iteration of mainline games, came out June 1st in 2023, nearly 6 years after the Necromancer. Now with it, they initially launched with Barbarian, Rogue, Sorcerer, and 2 Summoner classes. They revisited the Druid, as well as the Necromancer was in it from day one. Let's go ahead and take a look at the new iteration of the Druid. Now, just a quick teaser, but you really got the feel of that wild ferociousness that the druids, big, burly, throwing their weight around, transforming into a bear, summoning wolves and ravens to aid them in their battle, calling upon the elements, not as just attack spells, but also defensive spells, made them tough tanks to take down. Let's compare that to the Necromancer. Again, just a quick teaser, but we were able to see the Priests of Rathma, the Necromancers, with their expanded arsenal of not just plain skeletons, mage skeletons, archer skeletons, and many more, and the Golem being a prevalent, high powerful spell summon that would follow them around in its different forms. Now, Diablo's first expansion, the Vessel of Hatred, brought with it the Spiritborn on October 8th, 2024. While not a true summoner class, they had deep ties to the Witch Doctor, reaching into that spirit realm and pulling forth power from it instead of summons. Now, that leads us to the current day and age. We now have the Warlock. It was added into Diablo 2 Resurrected as the reign of the Warlock. And it was added just a couple days ago on February 11th, 26th on a surprise release. I personally was watching the live stream and was flabbergasted that they had such a big thing being released right away. Now, the Warlock will also be coming in to Diablo 4. And it will be coming with the official full launch of Lord of Hatred on April 28th, 2026. Unlike the pre-order bonus of having the Paladin, which became available on December 11th, 2025. And we're not stopping there. The Warlock also is going to be added into Diablo Immortal on June 2026. So adding it all over through the Sanctuary timeline. It's a crazy having 3 different games getting a new class in 1 year. As far as I know, it's unprecedented. Let's take a quick look at the Warlock.
How can knowledge be evil if it saves a soul? Should a king tell us how to fight? The church, they uphold the light while we die in the shadows. I denounce the light. I now seek power in the primal, salvation in unholy scripture.
I am a heretic. I break the bones of the damned, build altars of blood to call the darkness.
I have walked amongst demons, found strength in shadow, kinship and madness. Damn the light. I will suffer my own path. I will learn the foul ways of a forbidden tongue. to bind them as a tool of my vengeance. Branda's traitor, outlaw, warlock.
Let them hang us for what we've done.
But when darkness comes for us, it will see hell screaming back.
That play today was just a mind blower. Now, even in this, we see the progression of the Warlock throughout history this time. In Diablo 2, we see this kid version hiding in the dark, scrambling just to figure things out and trying them out, all in the background, afraid to be caught messing with things they shouldn't mess with. And from the child version, we get the angsty teenager version in Diablo Immortal. We get this rebellious, wild streak. I don't care what you think, this is what we need to do, and I'm going to embrace it. And then finally, we get the dark elegance and acceptance and refinement in Diablo 4, Lord of Hatred. Now, each iteration builds on the last. It gets more refined, more repertoire, as the classes do throughout time. And that is amazing. I like the progression and seeing how things change over time, not even from just us, but in the game world too. It's incredible that they put so much forethought into bringing the Warlock to not just Diablo 4, but throughout the world of Sanctuary. And that has been the road to Warlock. Lots of ups and downs and bumps. We started with just the simple golem spell. It truly was the base that they built it off, and you will see it echoed through different spells. The Necromancer, straight up golem in Diablo 2. In Witch Doctor, the Gargantuan has very reminiscent feels for Golem. We go from working with the dead to bringing in these life elements. So we were working with living things and calling them to our aid. And then going to the quasi-spirit realm with the Witch Doctor. And now we have a new path. The Warlock, pulling these summons, these minions from hell, to fight against hell's armies. How poetic, fighting fire with fire. Or should we say, fighting hellfire with hellfire. I hope you enjoyed this little lore, history, just fun rant ahead. Thought a lot of people might just enjoy seeing how things have progressed and how far Diablo has come from its simple and elegant use. And here we have the current version of Warlock that we can see in Diablo 2 Resurrected, added with Reign of the Warlock. I haven't started playing yet, just made my level 1 Warlock called Azurius. Thanks for joining in this lore walk. Make sure you like and follow to catch all my future streams. This is Blue Orion.